morning. Good morning. Hello, Ashutosh. Hello, Arvin. Hello, Suhas. Hey, Suhas. It's been a minute, man. Hope you're doing well. Crow of Demise was here at 2:30 a.m. Wow. Sheesh. Well, I guess it probably was at 2:30 a.m. for him, huh? Good morning, everyone. If you're here, I hope you're doing well. Let's see. Housekeeping. Housekeeping. Um, I think first things first, we need to pin a message. Did OBS just really like right off the rip disconnect? What the hell? Alright. Ooh, Stream Elements. There you go. Stream Elements bots in the chat. Let's go. Alright, there we go. Message written. We pinned it. My Discord bot notified Discord. Alright. Today we are learning Go again. What's up, Arvin? How are you, man? Good to see you. Steven, how are you alive? I thought I sent an assassin on you. What? Why would you send an assassin to me? That's that's it's a little aggressive. How did you integrate your PC performance into your shell? It looks so cool. I use a application. I didn't do it. I use a tool called. So there's a. I guess if you're in the Mac world or the Linux world, there's some utilities out there called HTOP and BTOP that you can use to do this kind of thing. I think HTOP or maybe just top is like built in to Linux or Mac. I don't know 100% because I don't use those operating systems as daily drivers, or at least I haven't used them as daily drivers while being a developer. So the application I use is called Bottom, and it's cross-platform, so you can use it on Windows, Linux, Mac, right? Whatever your choice is. But it's essentially kind of a play on words, right? Get it? Bottom versus top. Um, And so if you want to check it out, it's right here. You can basically get it as just a single file executable if you want, or you can install it with Winget or whatever your favorite package manager is. Let's see, at Ashutosh. There was somebody in my chat named Fuck You Studio. Dude, that guy's username, like, it speaks to my soul. Oh man, that's a great username. Ashutosh, I just put the link for Bottom in the chat. He is a friendly assassin. Sit him to what? Suhas, are you okay, man? These are some odd chat messages for you. Hello, new. Morning, sir. Morning to you as well. How are you? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We're getting ready to start a new week. Had a good weekend. Watched the World Series here in the United States. The World Series was nuts. It was insane. It had to be one of the best World Series that there's been in a very, very long time. Watched some American football. My favorite team won. Went to the grocery store. Wrote some code. Played some Battlefield 6. Yeah, it was a good weekend, man. So hopefully this week is just as good as this weekend was. Thank you so much. I'll try it. Yeah, try it, man. Yeah, if you don't like it, you can always just uninstall it. But I found it. I found that utility probably 3 or 4 years ago after just a quick search for Terminal Task Manager. I think is what I searched for it, and now it's become kind of my. It's one of the first things I install on any machine. Honestly. Fun fact. Fuck You Studio was my alt. I accidentally went on it. Well, that's a funny username. A noob would love to see more of those workout proofs. Oh, really? You'd like to see more fitness content? Nice. Yeah, I had a good weekend. Good. Good. I'm glad to hear it. Good morning, Mohammed. Just bored, I guess. I thought I was funny. I don't know. It just didn't sound like you, man. Sending an assassin to kiss me goodnight. That did not sound like you, but you do you, man. Sock. I think Rust is cool, like C Sharp. I think that's wonderful that you think C Sharp is cool. And I think it's wonderful that you think Rust is cool. I've never written Rust though. I mean, I've written a little bit of Rust, but I've never like seriously committed to learning it, you know? So I can't really disagree or agree with you, but I'm glad you found something you like. Yes, please. Sitting in front of chair all day long so your workout video is a great booster for me. Nice. Yeah, man, you got to get up out of that chair. You know what I mean? Even if it's just for like 10 minutes. I have a pull-up bar in my basement, and I have a kettlebell in my office or somewhere. And I usually just get up randomly throughout the day and lift those things. It's just nice to move your body, you know? Fruit eating ASMR. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to eat into the microphone. That's my bad. Aiming to do 20 push-ups this month? Oh man, you can do 20 push-ups, I bet, today. You know? But if you get 20 at the end of the month, that'd be wonderful. I think that's a great goal to set for yourself. Steven, do you think eventually everything will be written in Rust, like everything that is useful? No, I don't think so. I mean, it sounds like Rust kind of has some competition. I've heard of a language called Zig that a lot of people seem to be really enjoying and liking. So, I don't know. I don't think there'll ever be a time where everything's written in one language, right? I think programming languages exist for a reason, and it's mainly because different people's brains work different ways, and so different syntax and different approaches to solving problems clicks with different people, and I don't think that's ever really going to change necessarily. I think more software, more software will probably be written in Rust. I think there's still I know a lot of people like C, but I do think there's something to be said about kind of the memory safety of some of these newer languages compared to C that I think over time is going to be it's just going to be too much of a thing to ignore, right? It's kind of like seatbelts in cars, right? You look back at like when seatbelt laws became mandatory. I am old enough to remember when they passed in the United States, at least where I lived, I remember when they passed the law that made wearing a seatbelt basically like a serious traffic violation or serious crime. And I remember people being so upset about it. But then if you go back like 20 years before that, the same thing happened in the United States when we passed laws to prosecute people or penalize people for drinking and driving. I just think there's going to be people have been used to writing code in a certain way with certain languages for so long that they think it's not what's the term? They think it's an I don't even know what the right word is. They think it's not harmful, right? But I think when you fast forward so many years, people are going to look back and be like, why were you guys still using C when you had Zig or you had Rust, right? I think that's going to be a conversation at some point. What if a language can satisfy them all? Yeah, I just don't think there's going to be one language to rule them all. I don't think we're going to have a Lord of the Rings situation. But I could be wrong. You know what I mean? Like I could be I'm just a random 32-year-old dad streaming in his basement. So I'm happy to be proved wrong. I don't think there will ever be just one singular programming language. I'm sure all the vibe coders out there are like, yes, there will be. It's called English. It's called natural language, bro. um, in your opinion, what's the limitations of C Sharp? Hmm. To my knowledge, I'm not really aware of any, right? Like I know that there's a database called RavenDB that's built on C Sharp. So if you want to do really low level performance stuff in it, you can. There's obviously tons of applications that are built on C Sharp. Yeah, I'm not really sure what would be like what's something you can't do with C Sharp that you can do with other things. I don't really. I mean, you can manually manage memory in C Sharp. You just have to use the unsafe keyword. Is watching your live stream while working should be considered a crime, or it's okay? It's totally okay. Just focus on your work. Just use the stream as background music. Maybe because we don't get paid to write code in accordance to what other people think is good. Yeah, probably. That's probably part of it. You cannot memory safety shame open developers into Rust. Oh, open source developers? Oh, for sure. For sure. I don't I don't think you can shame anyone into doing most anything willingly. I think usually shame results in malicious compliance. But if there's arguably a safer or safe by default option, I would just imagine in the future people are going to look back and be like, well, why were we not using that? You know what I mean? All right, I'm gonna blow my nose, and then we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this exercise that we left off on yesterday. You're watching my stream on the TV. Nice, a vertical stream on the TV. I like it. I like it. Also, sorry if I'm annoying, but when's the game playing stream? I have no idea, man. I have no idea. I'm just trying to be consistent with this stream. You know? My sons continue to tell me that I'd have way more subscribers if I played video games instead of wrote code. Um, so maybe I should listen to their advice. Okay, so the idea here is ROT13 reader has a reader field. Let's see. For example, the gzip new reader function takes an IO reader, and we need to implement a reader method. So let's come down here. So we need to define, we need to define a function. That takes a, what do we want to call it? I guess R13 or ROT13 reader. This is a receiver argument. This, and we want to call this read. Read takes in some bytes, right? Takes in a byte array. And it returns an int and an error. Excuse me, an int and an error. So we can return 0 and nil for now. Does this run? Syntax error. Unexpected name B in parameter list. Possibly missing comma. Oh my goodness. Have I already forgot how to define a function in Go? Oh, yep, I did. The type comes after B byte. I'm gonna mess that up about 10 more thousand times. Okay, so it did work. It just isn't reading anything. So we have access, I think, to R, right? So we have reader.r should be a thing. So basically we need to, it needs to read from an IO reader, and it needs to modify the stream by applying the ROT13 substitution cipher to all alphabetical characters. Okay. So we need to read from this. So how do we read from a stream again? We have R. I guess we need read num of bytes read, right? And then we need error. And then we'll do r.read, and we need to pass in some bytes here. So I guess we just arbitrarily need to decide how many bytes we want to read from this at a time. Yeah? Encryption? What? That's so random. I want to make a text puzzle? Go for it, dude. Have you ever played Red Alert 2? Your son probably right on this. I have not played Red Alert 2. But yes, both my sons are very big video gamers, and I like to game too. Yeah, I like to game too, but I've never thought of myself as being good enough at any one Excuse me, my eyes are. I'm still waking up. I'm not caffeinated enough. What was I gonna say? But I've never thought of myself as good enough at any video game to be able to play it for entertainment for other people. The Bite Slayer. How do you like Go so far? Yeah, I've got no issues with Go. It's definitely different. Um, Definitely different than what I'm used to, especially in C Sharp. I think it's probably more similar to TypeScript in some ways than C Sharp, but it's different. There's only been one thing where I was like, "Ooh, that's gross," and that was functions that use naked returns with named return parameters, or yeah, named return values. That seems stupid. I don't know why you would ever write code that way. Let's see. I think I'm supposed to just read this to the end, right? So I should probably just loop. And then if air equals what was at the end of file air? How do we get that? Methods and interfaces. Readers. If air equals io.eof break. Yeah. Oh, they already imported IO for us here. Also, they imported strings. Why do we need strings? Oh, because they're making a new reader from a string. So we'll read into this. Well, actually, we don't. Actually, we don't need to do that, do we? We can just pass in the B that the caller gave us. Right? We can just pass this along to read here. Then we say if air io.eof, then we break. And then here we're going to return length of B. Yeah, I think that looks right. But now we need to substitute the number. So let's run this real quick. Declared and not use num of bytes read. Well, yeah, I guess this is gonna run. I mean, I guess the thing I'm thinking about in my head right now is the fact that I probably don't want to read all of this into memory. Like, I probably don't want to load all the bytes, right? Like, I probably just want to read it in so many, like, Okay, so I think I need to do something more similar to what I did in the last exercise. here. I'm stumped. I don't know why GoDevs created nil, null, or none. Makes much more sense. Yeah, I'm not sure why nil is named differently than null or none. I feel like everyone should have just stuck with null. Like just do null. We could all use null. We don't need to have different words for things. But I'm sure someone had a good reason. I feel like I'm missing a piece of knowledge. Like I feel like I don't understand how I feel like I'm missing something. I guess what I'm worried about is I'm worried like will it only ever read this many bytes? Like if I pass an 8-byte array, will it only ever read 8 bytes? That's something I need to, so let's see. Go reader. How many bytes will read? The read method of an IO reader in Go reads up to the length p bytes into the provided slice p, where p is the argument passed into read. Okay, so it'll only ever read. Okay, it'll only ever read to 8 bytes. Okay, so I can control that with just this, which means, okay. Okay, so I think what that means is then I can I just do this? Declare did not use num of bytes read, undefined R, num of bytes read. Oh, yep, reader. Undeclared, what do you mean undeclared not used? I'm returning it right here. Oh, because it's defined in the for loop. I'm an idiot. So what if I just do discard for now and I return length of B? This is just running forever. Timeout. Okay, so what if I do if num red, if num red equals length of B, then break. Does that change what happens? Just times out. So why am I not returning anything to the... Kajani, opinion on opals? What's opals? OPEL? I don't know what that is. And also, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. What is Go used for? Is it a scripting language? No, I think it's used to build a lot of backend stuff. Yeah. A lot of backend tools, a lot of CLIs. I think is primarily its use case. I mean, you can use it to build web apps and REST APIs and all kinds of stuff. The car brand. Oh, I've never heard of that. Let me see. Opel car. Yeah, I've never heard of it, so I don't really have an opinion. I mean, they look like a nice vehicle. I think I'm looking at the right thing. It's a German automobile manufacturer. Yeah, I mean, they look nice. I'm not a big car guy though. I think we talked about that before, Kajani. I'm not like a. I'm like as long as the car gets me from point A to point B, I'm happy. Steven, need your opinion. Alpha, Die Hard, something only beta, usable but planning a bat compat break release thing. What? What are you talking about, Suas? I don't even know what you just said there. About or what you were asking me about my opinion on. Even if I'm a millionaire, I'll be riding a Toyota. Yeah, Toyotas are nice cars. Hondas are nice cars. I mean, there's lots of nice cars out there. I'm not. That's not never been like a hobby for me. You know, like I had friends in high school that were real into cars and like modifying and getting aftermarket parts and customizing, and I just never. It never was a. It never was an itch I felt like I needed to scratch. All right, so what if I just pass this? Right? If I just like do that. What happens here? Okay, so that does work. So what am I doing wrong? I think I'm looping and I probably don't need to loop. Yeah? Okay. So now let's just focus on changing out. We'll say for I. How does the syntax work? Range. No, sorry, not that. For I equals 0 and I is less than bytes read, we will increment I. Excuse me. Increment I. And we will say B index of I will become B index of I plus 13. Right? Because that's the cipher we're implementing. Well, that doesn't look right, does it? By implementing the rot 13. So let's look back at what we were doing here. A Applying ROT 13 to a piece of text requires examining its alphabetic characters and replacing each one by the letter 13 places further along in the English alphabet. So what did I not understand? So LBH, what should this be? ROT 13 cipher. You cracked the code. Okay, so that's what it should say. So I have part of it right. So I have this part, but something happens when I add, when I add 13 to P, I get weird results, right? So if we come back here and we say, we do that, like the space became a dash. So why did that happen? ASCII, let's see, ASCII character chart. Let's see. So 65 is A, right? Which is good. So P, what is P? P is what? Little p is this. Oh, no, little p. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, so it's like it fell. It's like it's falling off the end, right? Because little p is 83, and what is 83? There is no 83. Is there? So how do we handle that? Basically, we need to go from P here to C is what we need to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Huh. I've never had to implement this before, so I'm completely lost. Gun, Steven, read bytes outside the loop. Gun, I should have looked at your messages sooner. The for loop where I is less than bytes read. You're the man. Don't do bi equals bi. Do that with temp variable. Banish, what are you implementing in Go? We're trying to do this exercise where we implement a ROT 13 cipher, basically. A reader that basically modifies another... A reader that wraps another reader, and then for every character in that reader, or for every character that the reader returns, convert that character to its ROT 13 equivalent, or substitution, is what we're trying to implement. Assign it to the temp variable. How's the learning process going? Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Slow. Slow because obviously I'm trying to learn and stream at the same time, but yeah, it's doing okay. What Gun, what's the reason I can't do a temp variable? Or why do I need a temp? Is that just stylistically something? Or is there an actual reason I need that temp there? I think the result's going to be the same either way, again. Me right now going from Stone Age language to something more modern. Nice. Yeah. I've historically always written C# or TypeScript. Unless you're calling me Stone. I mean, I don't think you're calling me Stone Age, are you? Mike, is this like that Greek cipher? I honestly don't know. I've not done much with cryptography or ciphers or anything like that, so this is all, I would be the wrong person to ask. PLC ladder logic? Nice. Yeah, but PLC, people who know how to work with ladder logic, they make good money, man. Doing controls, HMI, programming and controls programming in like industrial settings, those people make bank. There's so few people that do it, Steven, implement RSA. No, I'm not smart enough to do these algorithmically challenging things, Like, I just can't do it. No, I believe I could do it. It's just I lack the interest to do it. Yeah, I don't think this makes a difference, Gun, whether I do a temp or not. I think my problem is that I'm not applying the substitution correctly because I'm basically relying on the value of ASCII, right? So I'm saying, hey, if this is A in 65, I'm going to push this forward 13 letters or 13 by 13 values, ASCII values, right? And that's not going to work because that ASCII table doesn't go that far out, right? So like I'm trying to go from P to 13 ahead, but that's not going to work because what I really need to do is I need to go from P to C. So is this the equation I'm looking to do? The transformation can be done using a lookup table. So should I use a lookup table? I feel like there's a smarter way to do this. Oh, because temp variable can be used within expression to check out ASCII number of specific character. Oh yeah, totally. I could see the reason for the temp being that. But I don't really want to just use a lookup table. I mean, is this what you have to do? I feel like there should be some clever math that I can use to apply this. I mean, I'd probably be done if I just used the lookup table, wouldn't I? Oh, here's how they did it. Here's a JavaScript implementation. There's Python. So how do they do it in JavaScript? So if it's uppercase, rotate by 13 positions. If index is from 13 to... so they literally are just checking. Yeah. Huh. Okay. I mean, I can do that. I thought there was a more clever approach you could take, but I guess that you just have to do it the dumb way. I don't think I need to, though. I think I can just base it off the ASCII value, right? So if the ASCII value is 132 to... Yeah, I think I can just base it off this, can't I? So 41 to, if it's 41, let's see, B, then check within if statement. If it's between uppercase, then rotate 13. If it's lowercase, then rotate also. Sorry, sorry, I lost the chat there for a second. I made iced coffee. It was really nice. Do you like them? Yeah, iced coffees are fine. Yeah, totally. Nothing, no issue with iced coffee here. It's good to try to implement your own way before you use the standard way. That will help you learn how to problem solve. That's my method anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I understand the benefit of trying to implement your own thing if you really want to understand how something is, but I also think there's a line to be drawn at some point. Like, you don't, in order to use something, you don't need to re-implement it, in my opinion. Like that defeats the whole purpose of having abstractions, right? If you follow that type of logic, then you shouldn't be able to use a computer until you can make your own chip. And you shouldn't be able to use a programming language until you can rewrite the parser, right? And rewrite the lexer. Like there's that logic breaks down very quickly if you start to apply it to everything, you know? Industrial is kind of ass here, plus they want a one-man army who does everything for not enough money. Well, yeah, that's always a problem in industrial, especially manufacturing settings. Like they're manufacturing is always going to be cost sensitive, so they're always trying to get the most for the least. But I just feel like if you're somebody who knows how to work with PLC, you're probably in high demand, and there's only a few people who know how to do it. Steven, are you mad? I'm sorry for that joke. No, I'm not. No, I'm not mad at all, man. A lot of companies still use Windows XP because the new PLC implementations are 4K. Interesting. Very interesting. Suas, I made my own processor and I made my own programming language. Well, there you go. I just kind of fundamentally disagree with this premise that in order to use a specific layer of abstraction, you need to have re-implemented all the underlying layers. That's like that way lies madness, right? That's like telling a scientist, well, if you're a scientist, before you can do any new experiments, you need to recreate all the other work that your work will stand upon. That's just fundamentally not, that's the whole point, right? It's the whole point of standing on the shoulders of giants is you should be able to use the knowledge that some other humans brought you, right? You should be able to reuse these abstractions of technology that other people already created. 1.99 said, going to do nuclear fusion in my garden right now. Yeah. I mean, I totally get what you're saying, Suhas, in terms of like making you a better programmer or developer for your own learning, for your own edification. I totally get that. What I'm saying is, I just don't think that's a requirement, right? Like somebody can be a developer and just always work in JavaScript, and that's fine. They don't need to go figure out how the JavaScript runtime's implemented to be able to use JavaScript as a programming language. Ruben, thanks for the sub, man. I appreciate it. You're the first sub of the day, I think. All right, let's do what Gunhigh said. So basically, we'll use the ASCII values. So we'll say, whoops, this is the wrong thing. So we'll basically say Well, yeah, I think first what we want to do is we want to say current letter. It's not really a letter, but current letter equals this. And then I think we want to check. I'm going to say if current letter is less than, right? So we're checking if it's lowercase, right? That's what we're doing. Func is uppercase. Then we'll also have a func is lowercase. And then we need to pass in a byte, I think, right? Yeah, just a byte. Or I guess maybe we should take in an int. I'm not really sure. And then down here we can say like that. And then here we can say return I'm probably making this more difficult than it needs to be, but so be it. So it is uppercase if it's 41 all the way up to 32, 132, is that correct? 101, sorry, decimal, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong column. 65 all the way to 90. Although I don't think it matters if it's upper or lower, does it? Does it? I think it does matter because if we add 13 and it pushes it over the max of the upper, then what we want to do is we want to subtract 13, right? So maybe separate functions aren't a good idea. Let's do upper max is this. Upper min is this. And we'll do the same thing here. We'll say lower min is this. Upper max is this. Probably don't need to define those in the loop, but as you can see, admin of code for me is very challenging. I don't me no so good at problem solving. So we have 40, we have 65 and 132. $65 and 132, and then we have $141, no, 97. There's too many columns on this fucking table. 97 to 172. like that. Do not the space. What? You don't like? Are my variable names too long for you? Current character. Hold on. Nothing matters except output. In other words, profit for the shareholders. Well, yeah, I mean business in capitalistic societies and businesses. That's definitely the case. Byte is great. ASCII ends on 255. Let's see. I love how American Standard Code for Information Interchange converts into Unicode using the first bit. I don't. I don't know if I have any actual emotions towards that piece of information. It mattered because uppercase Z can't push to lowercase when added 13. Yes. Yep. It does matter. You are right. So then what we're going to do is I think we need to do a check or a test, I think, right? I think we need to say if current letter so we have upper min, upper max. It seems weird that there's overlap here. Do I have the right? I don't think I have the right thing. I think I keep screwing up the 97 to 122. Not 172. And this should be lower max. This is decimal. This is decimal value. 97 to 122. 90. 65 to 90. God dang. I don't know why I keep screwing this up so bad. 65 to 90 and 97 to 122. Oh, was an extra space in the now existent is lower function. Ah, okay. I didn't know what you were referring to. Yeah. Yo, what are indents used for? I think they're just primarily in Go, just used for readability. You know, it's not like Python where it forces you to have so much indentation. See you, Gun. No worries, man. We'll be back tomorrow morning. We'll be around. All right, I think what I can do is I can probably just check. So if current letter is greater than lower max. Yeah, if it's greater than lower max, then what we should have actually done is we should have done so we can always try to add first, and if current letter is greater than lower max, then we can subtract. We can actually do this. Right? I'm trying to write this in the most clever way, and I should just be trying to get it to work. But if the current letter plus 13 is greater than lower max, well then we know we should have gone the other way. Because we can't go beyond this number. Then I was thinking if this... Oh, but there's overlap between these numbers, right? So technically I could have a 97 and I could subtract 13 from it. Or I could add, let's see, if I had 97... $97 plus 13 would be what? 110? So I'd want to keep it. If current letter is if B of I is less than if it's less than upper max and current letter is greater than upper max, then we should subtract, I think. So I'm basically just trying to figure out all the cases where I need to subtract instead of add. Now what happens? Run. Declare to not use uppermin. God, I can't stand that. The fucking unused variable thing. That really bothers me. Oh. And yeah, this is a byte, not so if we did int current letter greater than lower max. And what was upper min, lower min? Invalid operation. Current letter greater than upper max. Oh, I should probably then just do that. This would have been so much faster if I had just done the if I had just okay, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do this the good old-fashioned way instead of trying to be clever, huh? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say current letter is, we're gonna cast the byte to an int, and we're gonna say if current letter is greater than or equal to upper min and current letter is less than or equal to upper max, then we know we have an uppercase character, right? In which case we'll do some testing. If current letter is greater than or equal to lower min, and lower max is less than, or if current letter lower max, then we're going to do some testing here. Okay, so we'll start by saying substitution sub equals current letter plus 13. If sub is greater than upper min, then we will do sub equals current letter minus 13. Then we'll continue. And once we get to the bottom here, we can say BI needs to be assigned to the byte representation of our sub, I think. And then basically have the same logic here, which feels like it just feels like there's something clever that I'm missing, right? So we'll do lower max. Oh, this should be upper max, shouldn't it? So if sub is, so we'll do sub equals current letter plus 13. Someone's like, you should have just used AI. Why didn't you just have Copilot do this for you? Current letter minus 13. Yeah, we could probably dry this up. Like this, probably we don't need to repeat this every time. Like we could define a sub here and be like var sub is an int, like that, and then we could just assign to sub. We don't have to worry about continuing here. We can just do the very end of the loop. You cracked the code. Although it took out all the spaces, I think. Why did it take out all the spaces? Oh, it took out all the spaces because I'm doing this for every character. So maybe I do need to only do it here. Yeah. All right, well, I implemented the ROT13 cipher and it only took me an hour. So this speaks very well to my capabilities as a programmer. Was an extra space? Yeah, okay. Yo, what are? Hold on, I read all this. What are you using? Which language? This is Go. Norsec. This is Go, is what I'm looking at. Daij Kaji. Morning, bro. Daij Kaji. If byte equal 32, continue loop. Oh, to fix the white space removal? That's not a bad idea. Let's do that. Just explicitly check for it. if current letter equals 32. I guess I don't need parentheses either, do I? That's not very go of me. Well, looky there. Look at Daikaji coming in and just making our day a little brighter. I like it. Okay, that's a reader for us. On to the next thing. Package image defines the image interface. Note, the rectangle return value of the bounds method is actually an image.rectangle, as the declaration is inside package image. Just assign as the default value of sub. Oh, that's even more elegant. So basically don't sub it, right? Basically the sub is the same value, right? Is what you're saying? Like initialize sub to be sub is the current character. Yeah, and actually current character probably makes more sense instead of current letter, doesn't it? Yeah. So let's, yeah, that makes way more sense, and that's easier to deal with, right? It handles all cases we don't care about. I know I'm gonna miss one of these on trying to rename all of them. Yep, there you go. You cracked the code. Looky there. ESFONL. Well, I don't even know how to say your username. Sfonel. I don't understand why this is telling me about images. Package image defines the image interface. Wonderful. Why do I care? Because you're going to have me do something with it. Remember the picture generator you wrote earlier? Let's write another one, but this time it will return an implementation of image.image inside of a slice of data. Define your own image type, implement the necessary methods, and call pic.show. Bounds should return an image.rectangle like image.rec. Color model should return color.rgba model. At should return a color. The value V in the last picture generator corresponds to color.rgba value 255255 in this one. I don't think I'm either not smart enough to know, like I felt like I was following this documentation pretty well, and now I don't feel like I'm following it. All right, we need to implement an image generator, okay? But this time it will return an implementation of image.image. All right, I don't really remember the picture generator, so maybe we should just look at what we did. So we basically turned a slice of slices. And in my case, I'm just filling up each element of the slice with a slice of 0 ints, which just paints a blue square on the screen right now. And then there was something in the documentation before duplicate tab. There was something in this documentation before this methods and interfaces, images. So I'm basically implementing this interface is what it's asking me to do. Okay. Let's see. Cannot use im as image. Image value in argument to pick. Image does not implement image. So this guy here, so is this a package? Is this a, does anybody here know Go? This is an external package, huh? This is like a, instead of importing like FMT, this is like somebody else's, this is like a remote package somewhere, basically, is what they're importing here. So I need to, what do I need to do? I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna copy these. Man, YouTube keeps telling me I'm having errors sending them data. I don't know why. Everything in OBS looks good. Looks like I've dropped some frames today, but so those are the things I need to implement. So we have a func that has a receiver type of I, which is of type image. And then we're going to have a color model that returns color.model. Is that how you do that? Package image defines the image interface. Import image. Like that. Yeah, and then I should have now return. What is a color.model? Color.model? Hey, what's up, Inspire? How are you? Fine, fine. How's your morning go? Yeah, morning's been good, man. I'm just trying to be a Go developer this morning, you know. So far it's going like so-so. I feel like this is the first morning where I've really been up against it. What's up, Artwork Studios? Oh wow, you're live. Hey man, yeah, I'm live. What do you mean? What? What do you mean? If have I been live? I've been live, right? I mean, Image.rectangle. Image.rectangle. Color.model. Where does color.model come from? Let's return this. Yeah, the problem is what I'm struggling with right now is they basically introduced a bunch of types and stuff in a package that I have no idea to work with. And I'm struggling trying to figure out, okay, if this is the signature and I'm supposed to return this, how do I get one of these? Like that's the part like that I'm struggling with in my own learning. Like how do I get an image.rectangle? Right? How do I just return one of those arbitrarily? Is it just like this? Because this doesn't seem right. Same thing with the at, right? How do I func I image takes a at, which has an x, which is an int, and a y that is an int. Return color.color. Undefined color. Okay, so how do I... Is there just like a color package here? Color. Let's see, package color is not in standard int. Okay, so that's non-standard library. So where does color come from? The color and types are also interfaces, but we'll ignore that by using the predefined implementations color.rgb and color.rgba. These interfaces and types are specified by the image color package. Okay, this is the first time I've had a little bit of issue with. So do I need to do that? Do I need to do this? Invalid composite literal type color.model. Okay, which are these two calls, I think, is what it's angry about. So we're going to say color RGBA and color RGBA model. Okay, color RGBA model and then RGBA color. Variable of interface type color.model is not a type. What? I'm so lost. I'm so lost. See the documentation for all the details. Damn, I gotta go to work soon. No worries, man. Work's important. I want to make a website called World Clock. It's basically all clocks set to the time of the country. Isn't there an app already, like on your iPhone for that? We will use the predefined implementations. Okay, so how do I use those? RGBA model. So what? I honestly don't know. We're gonna use AI because I don't. I'm not finding this documentation particularly helpful. uh, I have this code, and I'm getting this error. Yeah, I feel like this particular exercise kind of just dropped me off a cliff. You know, it was like, hey, implement this interface, and there's all these types that you need to figure out, and like, here you go. Let's see, use color RGBA models constructor. Must return a valid bounds. Okay. Yeah, like how do I know that? How do I know that? You know what I mean? Like that. Like, am I just supposed to? I guess I'm just supposed to go look it up on the doc site. That's good. Maybe I'm an idiot, but that just doesn't. Undefined color.rgba color. Color.rgba. Oh. Did I? So am I an idiot, or did they? Oh shit, I am an idiot because it says it right here, color.rgba. So I just screwed that up. I'm crashing out over the doc type. I'm crashing out over the Go documentation. Okay, so let's just set this to some stupid arbitrary number. Invalid image size 0 by 0. Oh, that's because the rectangle. So image.rectangle. Image.rectangle. I guess I need to get comfortable with navigating the Go documentation anyways, huh? Let's see, example. that sliding, that sidebar, every time I go over to the left here, I like hit the fucking pixel limit or whatever that makes it pop out. That's really annoying me. Okay, I'm looking for rectangle. Why did it not take me to rectangle? I want rectangle. Type rectangle. Why did it not take me to type rectangle? Okay, I see that it's used as a parameter type. I'm looking for the definition. Okay, min and max. A rectangle contains the points with min.x and max.x, min.y, and okay. So 100, 100. Cannot use 100 as image. Point value in struct literal. What? Untyped int constant? Point value. I don't know what this means. I don't know what you're talking about. How did Gemini do it? So Gemini used a rec. Let's go back to the documentation again. Okay, so we can just call this. Deprecated, use a literal image rectangle instead. Rec is shorthand for rectangle. Point. Oh, okay. So I can new up. See, this is like, how do you know all this? I don't know. I guess you just read the documentation. So they're saying I can do a point and then a point. I mean, how do you know anything, right? You read the docs. So go how to create an image rectangle. I'm just going to Google. Oh, I just pop up for a minute. Have you succeeded with that Yes, we did the ROT13 exercise. Now I'm crashing out over my lack of knowledge about how to use image.rectangle. Okay, well we're just gonna do the easiest one here. Finally. See, it's just, to me, I think what I'm frustrated by is it's just not totally clear to me how to get access to all these underlying subtypes, right? So I basically needed to know how to use image.rectangle, the image.rectangle type. I needed to know how to use the color.rgba model type. And I also needed to know how to use the color.rgba type. but it felt like they just kind of dropped me off a cliff of that knowledge. But maybe that's what their intention was, that they want me to go hunt around in the documentation for it. Like, how do I create a color.color? Or how do I create a rectangle? I don't know, I found that very frustrating. I found that very frustrating because all they're trying to express here, or all they're trying to get you to do or practice, is implementing an interface. That's all they're trying to get you to practice. Is like you have an image, you have an interface called image.image that you need to satisfy, so implement a struct or a type that satisfies it. I don't know why we needed to have all this complexity with all these underlying nested predefined types, but go figure. Maybe the learning exercise was figuring out how to use the Go documentation. I have no idea. Congratulations, you finished this lesson. You can go back to the list of modules, yada, yada, yada. Great. Wonderful. I'm frustrated now. Sorry, let me scroll back up a little bit, guys. When I was crashing out there, ES funnel, min and max are points. Yeah, see, like, that's like, how am I supposed to know that? I guess I'm supposed to go read the docs. Just showed my 1 week worth of work to my manager. Finally, after months, he has given me a decent compliment. I guess having a nice manager in corporate is actually a blissful, as otherwise work feels bad. Yeah, I mean, work is work, right? There's no way around it. We all need jobs. We all have to collect a paycheck. But I'm glad your manager gave you some positive feedback. That always feels good when people are kind about your work. Ronnie, I want to start web design and development. Is its future bright, or AI will replace it? Yeah, I think that question is a waste of time, honestly. I think if you're interested in something, but you're not pursuing it because you have concern in your mind that AI will make it obsolete, I think you're wasting your time. I think if you're interested in something and you want to learn something, you should pursue that interest, AI or no AI. Gun heist, perfect. I knew you could do it. Yeah, gun was pointing me in the right direction the whole time this morning. I don't know if I would have solved it without the help of chat. Artwork shoes. Are my messages annoying, Steven? Just asking because some people find me a little annoying. No. I don't think you're annoying at all. Yeah, you're welcome to hang out and chat and send messages all you want. What's up, Pablo? How are you? Good to see you, man. In the type signature. Yeah, but you couldn't know the type signature unless you go look in the docs. That's the thing. It's like they literally just dropped you off a cliff of knowledge where they're like, hey, there's this package called images. It defines these 4 other types. Go figure out those 4 types and all the types they all depend on. Just, I don't know. It felt like a little bit of a, that lesson feels a little bit like a miss, because that lesson actually became far more about the image package than it was about learning to implement an interface, right? In my opinion. I can be totally wrong. Lots of people have gone through these docs, so I'm n equals 1. But that lesson felt far more about, hey, you need to go learn about this images package, instead of, hey, we're trying to have you practice implementing an interface, which are just 2 entirely different things. Ronnie, if you don't mind, what is your salary? Yeah, I'm not going to share that publicly on the internet. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that one close to the vest. I mean, you could get a pretty good ballpark if you just go to my LinkedIn. If you go to https://linkedin.stevenfreeborn.com, you'll find my current location and my current company and my current title, and I'm sure you can do a little bit of Google and get yourself to a rough estimate. You would finish it without chat. Everyone needs sometimes a little whisper in the ear, especially when you wake up so early. Yeah, maybe that's my. I'm not gonna say it's a skill issue. It's just a caffeine issue. I think the idea is that you can extend whatever you want. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it just seemed like that exercise is in the methods and interface section, right? And the exercise for readers is implementing a reader, working with readers, right? An interface, satisfying a reader interface. And then, which was pretty straightforward because you were only dealing with the reader type and you were only dealing with the read method. And then all of a sudden you jump to this next exercise, which is again supposed to be about implementing an interface, but they dumped in a bunch of new types, like a whole new package with a bunch of types. That maybe I just got distracted by that and that really fucked me up. But if it was me, if I was designing this lesson, it just wouldn't have been so complex to figure out what the underlying types and models are. I probably would have just stuck to like primitives or something less complex. But that's me. It's just, opinions are like assholes, right? Yeah. We all have them. Exactly, it's a caffeine issue. Yes, implementing an interface naturally comes with reading the docs of that interface. Yeah, I guess that's a valid. I guess that's valid. Yeah, that's valid. So I need to get better at navigating the Go docs, is what you're saying. Pablo, you already learned how to work with a type and a method, and then you learn how to work with someone else's type and how to extend it. I guess you more have learned not necessarily how to extend it, but how to satisfy it, right? Basically provide your implementation. Yeah. But maybe they could have used a synthetic example. Maybe. I mean, maybe. It's like I said, a lot of people have gone through these docs, so I'm sure there's other people who have given them feedback, and that section of the documentation is the way it is for some reason. Just I found it difficult, but we figured it out. So it's good. Now we can move on to, I think, concurrency. No, type parameters. Generics. Sorry, we're in generics. God, that took me an hour to get through the rest of methods and interfaces. It took me an hour and 45. Jesus Christ. I'm moving so slow. The Go libraries documents is hard to navigate, so better start learning it ASAP. Yeah, true that. It doesn't seem very friendly. Like, why does, like, if I up here, right? So if I search for rectangle, for example, so here's the listing, right? If I click on rectangle, there's two different links here. There's image and there's type and there's rectangle. So if I click on type rectangle, I would expect this to take me to the rectangle on the page, the type definition on the page. But when I click this, I just end up at the top of the image. So is it me that has done something wrong? That just doesn't seem like it should be a thing. It seems like I should have been taken to the actual. It's almost like it didn't abide by this heading. There we go. I just had to enter it twice, I guess. Huh. Kind of weird. Is that consistent behavior? I think that's consistent behavior. I click type. It takes me. It's almost like it like flashes. Do you guys see that flash? But then if I refresh, what happens if I refresh? Control R. Yeah, it doesn't scroll. But if I do enter, then it takes me to the right place. Now, in any event, we're moving on. Oh, that was a big yawn. Also, Steven, I asked a question a little up. No problem if you don't want to read it. Let me go back. Let's see. Oh, geez, that's a real small latency time. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, I missed a bunch of questions here, and then Oh, I answered your question. You asked if your questions are annoying. I said no. Yeah, I said no, I think. Yeah, I answered your question, I think. The rendering of the page is client side, so the heading links are broken. Nice. Nice. Client side rendering for the win. Oh no, the ones about the textbooks being passed down? I don't see that one. It must have got. Oh, hey Steven, in your school were textbooks passed down like you had to return them in good condition or else you are fined? So in middle school, like in middle school and high school, that's how they were. You had to, you like, they gave you a book and then you had to, keep it nice and return it at the end of the year. And then in college, you had to purchase your books. I mean, you could rent your books too from the bookstore, you know, but in almost all cases, I just purchased my books at the bookstore. And if I could buy them used, I bought them used, but some of them I had to buy new. But I think that's pretty common when you're in school, like when you're in elementary, middle, high school, right? The school provides the textbooks, but they kind of ask that you take care of the thing that they've loaned you. It's 6:05, which means I have about an hour left to stream. I'm gonna go refill my coffee cup, and then I'm gonna really try to go heads down and let's see if we can't blast through some of this generic section. I don't know how long it is, but let's try to blast through it and see if we can't get through. Even it would be nice if we could get through all concurrency, a good chunk of concurrency today. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to do something with binary trees. No, no. I'll be right back. I'm gonna mute, and I should probably throw up my my very very fancy be right back screen. Control tab. Yeah, control tab. There we go. I have to say the tour of Go did me dirty this morning. Really, really fucked me up. Be right back. Went to get coffee. Honestly, though, that's a good example where that feeling of like struggle and frustration, right? That is indication that you're actively in the process of learning something new. And it's very uncomfortable and it can be very frustrating and you feel like you're flailing around and what is the point? And why do you want to keep doing this? And why not just stop and go back to what you already know, right? That's the whole that is the whole battle when you're learning something new. You need some ASCII art in a command you can type. Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, like that's a really cool idea, Pablo. I'll go get coffee, then we'll come back and do that instead of learning more Go. How about that? We'll work on creating a be right back ASCII picture. All right, don't let me forget I'm muted when I come back. I'm back, and I'm still not a Go developer, but I'm trying to pretend to be one, unsuccessfully. I'm ready to get kind of out of the browser though and into an actual dev environment. Okay, generics. Here we go. Did I miss anything? Generic should be doable if you know TypeScript. Oh, nice. Yeah, I know TypeScript and C#, so I'm familiar with generics. I can see your messages, Artwork Studios, for sure. You are muted when you come back. Yeah, the ASCII art. Yeah, we need to do that. My dog is an idiot. The door was left open, so she literally ran out. But around this time, the dog that will bite is usually loose. She got bitten so many times before. I wish she comes back safe. Yeah, dogs are great, but also dogs are not always the most intelligent forms of life. All right, Go functions can be written to work on multiple types using type parameters. The type parameters of a function appear between brackets before the function's arguments. Well, this is kind of ugly. This declaration means that S is a slice of any type T that fulfills the built-in constraints comparable. X is also a value of the same type. Comparable is a useful constraint that makes it possible to use equals, equals, and the not equals operators on values of the type. In this example, we use it to compare a value to all slice elements until a match is found. This index function works for any type that supports comparison. Index returns the index of X in S or -1 if not found. So we have a type T that's comparable. So this is some sort of a keyword, something that satisfies a constraint or something. I'm not sure what comparable means or actually does. And then we obviously, now we typed S and we typed X to the type that we're defining here, or the caller is giving us. Then we're going to loop over the T array. And we're going to say if V and X are type T, which has the comparable constraint, so we can use equals here. Oh, so you're saying if I didn't use comparable, I wouldn't be able to use the equal, huh? Missing type constraint. Interesting. So what are all the different type constraints that you can add there? I'm guessing they're going to tell us. Okay. Yeah, I think that's relatively straightforward. Oh, I guess the other thing is it's inferring the type, so I don't have to explicitly say what the type is. Like in C#, like in C#, sometimes you have to explicitly say like this is a string, right? In C#, but I'm guessing here you don't have to. Like you don't have to say int. But you can. So I'm guessing if I put string here, then this won't work, right? Okay, that's cool. So it will infer the types based on what you pass. I like that. That's just like C# generics. Melty Steven, do you even lift? Dost thou even hoist? Good sir? Dost thou put weight above thy head? Does thy squat low and deep? No, yeah, I do lift. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I can say that. I mean, I love the gym, man. Sometimes I just go out and work in the gym. Like I'll just set up my keyboard, my laptop. I just sit out in the gym and write code. I love being in the weight room, man. It's like like other people go to coffee shops to hang out. I want to go to a gym and just hang out, you know? Love the weight room. Love everything about working out, training. Love the physicality of it. Love what it does for your mental health. Um, I love the I love the fact that physical training, difficult physical training, gives you the opportunity to experience yourself in a whole different way than you typically experience yourself. I think it teaches you things about yourself, about your capability, about your character. Um, I think that's why it's such, for a lot of people it can be such a transformative experience when you run a marathon or you train for a powerlifting meet or you engage in some sort of competition, some sort of sport activity that culminates in a competition. I think it's very transformative to people because it basically exposes, I think, a part of you that maybe you've never seen before or experienced before until you're actually pushed to a physical limit like that. So yeah, bring all the fitness chat you want. I'll be happy to talk about lifting, fitness, working out. If I wasn't married and didn't have 2 kids and 3 dependents to support, I probably would much rather, instead of working as an engineer, would rather work as a strength coach. But strength coaches don't make that much and they change jobs a lot. I think Steven does. It's just the baked goods are too tempting. Yeah, I do work out, but then yeah, I make up for it with too many baked goods. Oh, you're not able to use the equal. Yeah, okay, cool. Generic types are usually inferred, but you can. Okay. Melty, I just saw the short. Nice. Why do people talk shit about C sharp? I don't know, Melty, honestly. I think I think people talk shit about C sharp the same reason they talk shit about Java is because it's just not what all the cool kids use. You know what I mean? It's what the stuffy old guys, use. So it's easy to dunk on it. I like that the pointer is usually used as a way to make something nullable. Interesting. In addition to generic functions, Go also supports generic types. A type can be parameterized with a type parameter, which can be useful for implementing generic data structures. This example demonstrates a simple type declaration for a singly linked list holding any type of value. An exercise, add some functionality to this list implementation. List represents a singly linked list that holds values of any type. So this is a type list of T. So this is the parameter. Any is the constraint. So that just basically means you can put anything here, I guess. Any is like any in TypeScript, I'm assuming. And then next is going to be a pointer to another list. Well, why does this point to another list? Singly linked list. So this list links to another list. And this is the current value. Yes, pointer for the next linked node. Yeah, but why is the pointer not to the actual individual? Maybe I don't understand. Singly linked list in oops. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would have expected next to point to a node, right? Linked list. So each element of the list links to the next element. Yeah, but I guess I wouldn't have expected the next property to be a list, I guess. Linked lists are nodes that point to other nodes. They are not your typical arrays. List is the node. Ah. So it's like a, hmm. Oh yeah, but here the type list is a node. Ah, bit of a misname, I guess. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, maybe not this misname. It just conceptually, usually when someone presents this example, it's usually this is like a type of node, right? Is what this is or something. There is no list wrapper in this case. Yeah, call it node if you want. All right, cool. All right, so now we know about typed. What we know about typed functions and typed. What was the last thing called? Generic types. So we know about generic type parameters to functions and generic types. Which all I'm going to put in the back of my head is Go supports generics. So if I find myself in a place where I'd like to use generics, that is available to me. All right, I think now we're getting into concurrency, so I need to really try to pay attention here. I'm just going to drink all the coffee right now. Just kidding, I'm not going to drink it all right now. Lock in, yeah. I feel like anytime you start talking about concurrency in a programming language, right? This is an important topic. All right, I've heard the Primeagen talk about Go routines. A Go routine is a lightweight thread managed by the Go routine. This seems like a loaded phrase. A lightweight thread. Go F starts a new Go routine running this function. The evaluation of f, x, y, and z happens in the current Go routine, and the execution of f happens in the new Go routine. Okay, I'm going to do some drawing so I can try to make sense of this in my brain. So basically, we have a Go routine. So Go routines basically are just an abstraction for threads in the language. So what it's basically saying is when you initialize so this is evaluating eval function, evaluate f and its params, run f is basically what they're saying. So we have two different threads here. Go routines run. Actually, let me move this up too, and let's clean up my tabs. My tab discipline was weak this morning. Go routines run in the same address space, so access to shared memory must be synchronized. Okay. The sync package provides useful primitives, although you won't need them much in Go, as there are other primitives. Okay, good. It's like saying, this thing exists, but you're probably never going to use it. Okay, so I see what they're trying to hammer home with this example here is they're basically trying to say, hey, you call go say, and this is immediately evaluated, but it obviously doesn't block this current thread, the current routine. So say is going to execute, and then because say has a timer, I'm guessing we're going to see maybe world print after hello sometimes. Let's see, run. Yeah, see like hello, and then we see world, and now we have some competition for when things print. But initially, there's a little bit of a, we're always seeing hello comes first because go. This is kind of, so this is like the await async model, but for Go. See, Artwork Studios, have a good day. Keep in your head sync exists, yeah. The Primogen is a fun guy. I enjoy watching him roast the tech influencer. Yeah, I like the Primogen a lot. I know some people have like different takes about his, like the energy. He's very high energy, right? And so I know for some people that's like a turn off, but I think he's really funny. I also think that as much as he comes across as being like very much a part of internet culture, he's also very grounded in the real world, right? Like he has a wife, he has kids, he has a big, huge, entire life outside of the internet, and he's actually like, if you listen to his streams and stuff, you actually come to find out like he's very well read. Um, and there's a lot more there than might come. There's a lot more to him than you might think just by watching like his clips or his shorts, right? There's a lot more depth there than I think you would than you would assume if you're just scrolling past him on your phone. So I agree. He's very fun to watch. Pablo, they are executing in parallel. It's not quite async await. Here you are not waiting for, say, you are just launching it to a different thread. Generators are a better comparison. Interesting. So that's interesting because they call this section concurrency, and concurrency and parallelism are not really the same thing, right? You can have concurrency without parallelism. So Go routines are more like parallelism in C#, where you're actually doing work at the same time. You're not switching. Okay. Very cool. Though very cool that this exists. You could say you are not awaiting an async function here. Yeah. Yeah, you aren't, right? You're not saying, "Hey, come back to this once something has finished, but you can go off and do other things." You're literally saying, "Take this work and go do it now, and I'm going to move on and continue to do more work." Which is interesting. Channels are a typed conduit through which you can send and receive values with the channel operator. This is running concurrently. Yeah, but concurrency and parallelism aren't the same thing. You see what I mean? Like, yeah, parallelism is only possible if you actually have a multi-threaded ability, right? That's the only way you can actually achieve parallelism. You got to be able to have two threads doing two different things at the same time, right? So that's like in like JavaScript, because it's single threaded, you have concurrency, but you don't have parallelism unless you bring in the workers package and you actually spin up processes on different threads, right? So it's like two different ideas. Stephen Tobe has a really good video on this idea because this fucks up a lot of C# devs when you start talking about parallelism and then you start talking about async and await. People think because they're using async and await that they're using parallelism, but you're not. You're using concurrency. Sorry, I'm going to answer this YouTube comment really quick. I mean, the best way I've always heard it put is concurrency is about being able to handle multiple tasks at once, right? So you're like switching back and forth, right? You have a single thread and it's moving back and forth. I do a little bit of work over here. Now this work's complete. It's like cooking in your kitchen, right? It's like you're boiling pasta, you're chopping vegetables, now you're taking the pasta and draining it. Versus like parallelism is like you and your wife are in the kitchen at the same time. You're boiling the pasta and doing the sauce, and she's at the counter cutting vegetables. It's like the work is happening at the exact same time. Yeah, context switching. And this Go routines to me sounds more like parallelism than concurrency. Oh yeah, I'm not saying that I'm not saying async and await is the only way to achieve concurrency. I'm more of just saying that in what we're doing with what we're doing with Go routines, this seems very much more. This Go routines seem less like they are concurrency and more like they're achieving parallelism because you're literally spinning up a separate thread. Just not parallelism, just like JS generators are not parallelism. Yeah, I wouldn't think JS generators would be considered parallelism. I mean, the only way you can achieve parallelism in JavaScript is you have to use the worker package, right? Because you have to literally spin up a separate process, and you have to communicate between those processes in the JavaScript world, at least in Node land. But I don't. To me, maybe Google can help us a little bit here. The runtime is handling the concurrency. It's not true threads parallelism. Hmm. Huh. So you're saying Go routines doesn't necessarily. So can you? So Pablo, if that's the case, is there a way when you use Go routines that you can guarantee parallelism? Like if Go routines themselves don't guarantee it, is there a way you can force it? Like in you can thread support, yeah. Yeah, I mean like in C sharp there's definitely a way to like you can use all the threads on your machine. Like you can use all the cores. So is there a way in Go that you can force routines to use all the threads? Now I'm now I'm relying on chat to teach me. But that's a standard library allows you to spawn threads and stuff, and you can mix Go routines with that to communicate between threads. Oh, okay, so it is possible. You can get thread support. Yeah, okay. All right, cool. That's good to know. All right, channels are a typed conduit through which you can send and receive values with the channel operator. Nice. Like maps and slices, channels must be created before you use them. So channel make chan of type int. So I guess chan is a keyword here, right? And this is of type int. So that means your channel can only handle integers, basically, is what this is saying. By default, sends and receives block until the other side is ready. This allows Go routines to synchronize without explicit locks or condition variables. That's interesting. I think I like that. I think I like that. The example code sums the. So I guess that is that is kind of what we're talking about here with concurrency and parallelism. If if Go routines can use channels for synchronization, then yeah, you're not really. I wonder how then they achieve synchronization across, or I wonder how you make, if channels don't block, like if I turn this off, if I turn this default behavior off, I wonder how you then synchronize. That'll be interesting to see. Santo, hey there, what's up, Santo? Good to see you. Yeah, this is like yield and generators. Okay, nice. Sorry, had to shower. No worries, dude. Live your life, man. Live your life. Okay, so we have a function called sum. Sum is adding up a range of numbers, a list of numbers, right? Yeah, a list of numbers. You can send values, but never wait for the read, just queue them. Well, but I thought you, but I think, but this is saying it blocks. So like it says it sends and receives block until the other side is ready, right? So if I try to send from one place to the other, the send is gonna block until the other side takes it. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. It all connects. When you block, you wait for the read, and the non-blocking, you just send and never expect the. Oh, I see. Okay, I see what you're saying now, Pablo. You were trying to explain to me what happens if you disable the blocking behavior. Okay, I'm following now. Sorry. Yes. So we are summing some values, and then we are creating two Go routines. And let's see, we're reading from. Okay, so we're passing the same channel, though, right? Okay, so what they're doing is they're taking the first three numbers and they're sending it to this sum to summarize here. Then they're taking the second three numbers and they're summing those over here. So we should get X and Y. And then we can see that print and then we'll add for the actual total. So we're basically splitting the work. So this is where the concurrency and the parallelism to me get muddied. Because if this is not really parallel, if this is not true parallelism, this does not necessarily mean this is going to be faster than just doing this all at the same time. Right? In order for this to actually be faster, there needs to be parallelism. There needs to be actual separate threads. And so I guess that's where I'm confused, because the docs make it seem like this is spinning up separate threads, which to me means this work is happening at the same time, which is parallelism. It's not concurrency. We're not switching between things. In how many languages do you code? Hello, Kogo. Good to see you, man. First time I think I've seen you in the chat. I really just primarily work in TypeScript and C#. If you make me, I will work in Python. And then currently, I'm trying to learn Go. At this very moment, I'm trying to figure out Go. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, I'm just so confused. Like, are these tasks or are these threads? I'm probably gonna have to go on a little bit of a Googling and reading adventure to really wrap my mind around the concurrency, aren't I? That's an implementation. Tasks that run on some thread. Okay. Yes, okay. So what ES Phonil just said, that mimics C Sharp's concurrency model. Yeah. Tasks that can or cannot run some thread in the thread pool, that work will get scheduled on a thread. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I feel like I'm good now. I won't beat that to death anymore. But yeah, this is by default is not necessarily faster unless you have IO. Okay. Okay, I won't beat that to death anymore. It's clear now. Thank you for putting that in language that clicked. Sometimes the student can be very dense. Okay, so now we're talking about buffer channels. So C# does have channels, which I've been using a lot lately in some of my C# code. So I'm guessing they stole that idea probably from Go. Maybe, I don't know. When did channels get introduced into C#? Channels added to C#. Let's see. C# introduced channels as a core feature in .NET Core 3.0. So I guess they've been around for a little while. I don't know how long Go's been around though. So it's entirely possible C# ripped this idea off. But I like them. I like this idea of channels. Sends to a buffered channel block only when the buffer is full. Receives block when the buffer is empty. What? Channels can be buffered. Provide the buffer length. Oh, sorry. This sentence is weirdly written. This will send to a buffered channel. No, sends, meaning trying to put something in the channel, will block if it's full. And then receives will block when the channel's empty. Range and close. A sender can close a channel to indicate that no more values will be sent. Receivers can test whether a channel has been closed by assigning a second parameter to the receive expression. That's nice. So you could do like if open handle value, right? If there are no more values to receive, the channel is closed. The loop for I of range over C receives values from the channel repeatedly until it is closed. Oh, that's nice. So range just takes care of that for you. You don't even have to check. Only the sender should close a channel, never the receiver. Sending on a closed channel will cause a panic. So the sender should probably check to make sure it hasn't been closed by the receiver, huh? So the receiver can close it, though. I wonder, so is there any way to know if you're the sender or the receiver? Oh wait, I think I found out the issue why the Linux distro wouldn't boot is because I was using x86 distro on ARM system. That will do it. That will do it. The concurrency from Go is especially useful because of I/O, like HTTP requests, file system writes, reads, or database connections. Not necessarily good for running lots of math. Yeah, totally. Concurrency rocks for those type of non-CPU bound issues. But if it's CPU bound, right, then you kind of, that's where you kind of want to maximize actual thread usage. That's why a lot of times they say, like, if you're running a tight loop, but your loop involves making an HTTP request, well, then you're kind of I/O bound, and then parallelism probably isn't really very, very helpful in a lot of cases. But concurrency is, for sure. Which browser is it? No, ABC. This is the Zen browser, is what I've been using the last couple weeks, and I think I like it. Yeah, I think I like it. Except there is one issue where you can't use this browser to do anything that needs DRM support. Zen browser DRM support, I think is. Yeah, DRM support. So you can't play like Netflix on this browser, which is kind of a showstopper, I think, probably for some people. But for me, when I'm just doing like development related stuff, I'm just, Googling or searching, reading, that type of thing. It's working well. Sender is the one that posts the messages. You know beforehand that it's going to send stuff. Yeah, but like obviously the receiver must, like, if you expose the close method to the receiver, like if you really know this is the receiver and this is the sender, why would you ever allow the receiver to close it, you know? Like you would think you'd be able to like strongly type these things. Which I guess you could, right? You could strongly type them. You could create your own type that has a pointer to a channel, but then that type only exposes a read and a write and a read method, or a queue or a dequeue method. What's up, Kogo? Good to see you again, man. Hope you're doing well. ABC. It's pretty similar to Arc. Oh, nice. Yeah, I've never used Arc, so I can never speak to the similarity between things that I've never used before, you know? The contact is that you are giving it a channel that the receiver created, and the sender will be in charge of closing it. Usually you don't have multiple senders writing the channel, so you just close the channel once your sender is done. Nice. All right, Artwork Studios, look at you, man. Look at you troubleshooting and solving problems. Always feels good. Another note, channels aren't like files. You don't usually need to close them. Closing is only necessary when the receiver must be told there are no more values coming, such as to terminate a range loop. Oh, here's another one of those ambient functions. Just like reach up, grab the make function. Reach up, grab the close function. Where do these things come from? I don't know. They're just there. There is a dispose keyword that comes in handy you'll learn about later. Nice. Okay. I'm ready to learn about it. Let's run this. There's our Fibonacci. So here's our Fibonacci sequence, and we're looping, and we're sending X to the channel, then we do some swapping, then we close. Oh, we only calculate in numbers of Fibonacci, and then we close. Otherwise, if we didn't close, what would happen? Would this just block, I guess? All Go routines are asleep. Deadlock. Oh, interesting. That's an error they haven't talked about yet. So this Go routine didn't close, or this, well, I guess the Go routine finished, but something, I don't know why that happened. Fatal, all Go routines are asleep. I don't know how to explain that. I guess I would have thought the program would have just timed out, because it would just sit here and keep arranging. I guess not. Steven, did you know in school when I ask why do we need to learn this, it's out of pure curiosity? I did not know that, but I think that's great that you're asking questions like that. Although some teachers might take that as like you're trying to challenge, challenge the usefulness of what they're teaching, you know? So maybe instead of asking why do we need to learn this, you should ask, how can I make use of this, or how will this be useful to me? Maybe phrase it in a different way and you'll get a better reaction from the teacher. The range tries to fetch from the channel, but nothing can feed that range, so you get a weird error. Yeah, that's super weird. I'll be interested to see why what is a deadlock condition in Go. The select statement lets a Go routine wait on multiple communication operations. A select blocks until one of its cases can run, then it executes that case. It chooses one at random if multiple are ready. What? Did I skip over a topic? I don't understand. What is where? Hold on. A select statement lets a Go routine wait on multiple communication operations. A select blocks until one of its cases can run. Then it executes that case. So I guess in order to use in order to make using a select useful, you'd have to know that this is going to be called as a routine, right? So we have a quit channel that's being passed in. And we have a C channel that's being passed in. And we're writing the Fibonacci numbers to the C channel, but we're also listening for a quit. And so select just is going to pick whichever one is ready. Although I don't like this. It chooses one at random if multiple are ready. That seems dangerous. Okay. Well, I know about the select statement now. I mean, I guess my question is, what happens if you don't call this in a Go routine? Well, I guess Fibonacci isn't called. Fibonacci is called in this routine, and we're calling a different one over here. This is a promise.race. Ah, okay. Yep. No, what? I've never used a promise.race before myself, but I'm sure there's good use cases for it. How is this useful in life is also a bit aggressive. Yeah, I don't know what's the right language to ask for why you're learning something in a genuinely curious way without making it sound like you're being a disrespectful teenager who wants to shut you up. I don't know what the right language is for that. 1.9. How long do you usually spend on your learning sessions? So like basically we've dedicated every stream of the month of November to learning Go, and my streams usually last from 4:15 in the morning till about 7 o'clock in the morning. So 2.5, 3 hours roughly, depending on what's going on. But not all that time spent learning, because obviously I'm streaming at the same time, So, a couple hours at the moment, 199. Is the main thread also not just another Go routine? Yes, it is. You're right. The main thread is another Go routine. Or at least that's the way I infer from reading the documentation. What use cases can we get out of Fibonacci? I have no idea other than using it for programming examples. I have no idea how else people use the Fibonacci sequence. But it makes for a good programming problem, like palindrome. Yeah, how many times has a palindrome come into the real world? Not very often, but it's a good way to test to see if people can use tint variables for swapping values. Pablo, how could I apply what I'm learning? Which other fields make use of this? Oh, that's a good one. Which other fields make use of this knowledge? That's a really good one. Pablo, you're smart. You're a smart cookie, man. The default case in a select is run if no other case is ready. Use the default case to try a send or receive without blocking. Default. Use I. Receiving from C would block. Excuse me. So we have a tick and we have a boom. We have a function that returns a duration, which we're sticking in the elapsed. So this is our elapsed function. And then we're saying tick. So I think what we're saying here, because I've not used this time package, but I think what we're saying here is we're going to print the tick every 100 milliseconds, and we're going to print boom every 500 milliseconds. And then the default case is we're just going to sleep for 50 milliseconds, I think is what we're getting at here. So 100, so we sleep every fifth, or we print a period with a new line every 50. And so we're just sleeping. And then every 100, we're printing tick, and every 500 we boom. I'll have to learn about this. The time package seems pretty cool. I like this time.now, time.tick. I like that. I wish JavaScript in like natively JavaScript had a better way to work with dates and time spans. Like I love C#'s APIs for working with dates and working with time spans. I wish JavaScript would adopt something natively like that. I know there's libraries, like Moment.js and stuff, but I wish it was just built into the language. Hey, Steven. Gave OA with the help of GPT. There were 3 DSA questions I didn't think would get an interview call for next week. For an apprenticeship, what shall I learn in week DSA or language fundamentals? What should I learn in a week of DS? I honestly don't know in a week, I mean, I think if it was me, maybe try to dig up a Pluralsight course or a Coursera course, something that's structured and kind of holds your hands and introduces you to those concepts. I think Free Code Camp has an old data structures and algorithm curriculum. Maybe that would be useful. I think it would be if you're time bound though. I think you're better off not spending a bunch of time trying to cobble together your own resources. I think you're probably better off trying to leverage something else. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Excuse me. Yeah, maybe just go and check this one out. JavaScript algorithms and data structures. It's old, but like it's not their newest curriculum, but it's still going to be good. Still going to learn stuff. Let's see. Who is this? ABCD. There you go. That might be a good approach to take. Gaudy Python. I always come across your lives at random. How's your day going today? My day's going great, Gaudy Python. It's cool that my lives show up in your shorts feed. YouTube must really want me to be a part of your shorts feed. My day is just getting started though. Or yeah, I guess my actual day is just getting started. I started streaming at 4:15, which was 2 hours and 45 minutes ago or so, almost 3 hours ago. But now the real day begins. I got to go upstairs, take a shower, say hi to the family, get ready for work, do all that stuff. Docs are boring but so useful. I don't know. I appreciate good docs, man. Good docs that are easy to navigate and easy to search and are simply written and do not use needless words. I very much appreciate a good documentation site. Thanks, man. Of course, ABC. Yeah, hopefully that's helpful. A week's not a lot of time to prepare, but I get it. If you weren't expecting to get an interview that quickly, I understand. I say go in there, do the best you can. When you don't know something or can't do something, just be honest about it. Right? An interview is not the time to try to posture or try to fake it till you make it. An interview is a time to speak about what you know, speak about the skills you can do, find out information about the people that you're interviewing with, if they're people that you'd want to work with or for, right? So that's why interviews shouldn't be anxiety ridden, because interviews are not about trying to pretend to be something you're not. Interviews are about presenting yourself as you are and trying to communicate the value you can bring to somebody, and making sure that the person you're interviewing with and the company that you're interviewing with aligns with the people you want to work with and the things you want to do and the companies you want to work for. I just got home from school and you're still live. It's 2 p.m. in Austria. Nice. Yeah, I'm still live. Yeah. Uh, Although I'm probably going to be wrapping up any minute now because I need to get upstairs and get ready for the day. I was trying to get through concurrency before the end of the day because I really would like to switch over to I'd really like to switch over to the next section of our learning plan that we have. I'd really like to switch over to Learn Go with Tess, but I'm still not through Tour of Go yet. I'm close though. I'm not far from being done. They're just trying to communicate a default case for the select statement. Oh, now, okay, we're not doing this. We're not doing this right now. This is going to be what we're doing tomorrow morning. So here's the exercise. The exercise is the equivalent binary tree. There can be many different binary trees with the same sequence of values stored in it. Okay? For example, here are two binary trees storing the sequence 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. Okay. A function to check whether two binary trees store the same sequence is quite complex in most languages. We'll use Go's concurrencies and channels to write a simple solution. This example uses the tree package, which defines the type tree. Okay, good deal. Good to know. I've never done this before. Checking the equivalency of binary trees. I've never done this before in any language. Implement the walk function. Test the walk function. The function tree.new constructs a randomly structured but always sorted binary tree holding the values k, 2k, 3k, 10k. Create a new channel and kick off the walker. Then read and print 10 values from the channel. It should be the numbers 1, 2, 3, 10. Implement the same function using walk to determine whether T1 and T2 store the same values. Test the same function. Should return true, and tree.new1 and tree.new2 should return false. So when it says equivalency by values, it's literally just meaning if the tree has all the same numbers, right? I think that's what it's asking. So like these are okay, yeah, I don't have time to I don't have time to start trying to solve this, but this is what we're going to do tomorrow morning to start with. So equivalent binary tree. Shit like this always makes me feel like I'm not a real developer. X equals Y. Okay, fair enough. I guess what I'm trying to find out is, yeah. I guess what I'm thinking about equivalency is it the same, so it's the same sequence. They need to appear in the same order, or is it just the same value? They just hold the same values. Because I think it's the same values. Without looking at the structure, all the values contained are the same. Okay, yes, okay. What you said, Pablo, yeah. So as long as like all the same numbers appear in T1 and all the same numbers appear in T2, then they're equivalent. Yeah. Well, we have something to look forward to tomorrow. Eric Crivelli, me too, man. I'm self-taught and I run into things that make me feel not worthy once a week at least. Yeah. Yeah, whenever we do shit like this, it's just, I mean, the thing is, like, if you ask me to build an application, I'm like, yeah, let's do it, you know? But then when you're like, you're given 2 binary trees. Yeah, then I'm like, hey, man, I didn't go to computer science. I think it's the difference between, like, being a, it's the difference between being like, I don't know. It's like the guy who uses the hammer versus the guy who engineers the hammer, maybe. Maybe that's a good, like, both are useful and both have skill and ability, but they're just at different layers of complexity, maybe. I don't know. Imposter syndrome kicks in so fast with DSA. Yeah, totally it does. Yeah, totally it does. All right, guys. Well, I gotta run. I gotta get ready for the day. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Should we do our normal housekeeping to wrap up with? Is it Monday morning for you, right? It is Monday morning for me. Okay, so first things first, if you guys want to hang out with me or interact with anybody in chat, away from stream, the best place to find us is our Discord. Stream Elements will hook you up with the link in chat in just a minute. Schedule. Here's my schedule. I'll dump that into the chat too. So normally I stream from 7:15 a.m. Central, or sorry, 4:15 a.m. Central Standard to about 7 a.m. Central Standard, and then sometimes on the weekends I go longer. So if you see me live during those times, I'd love it if you'd stop in and just say hi. It's always nice to see recurring people show up here. Obviously, you're more than welcome to just hang out and lurk too. It's totally welcomed. And is there any news I need to share with you guys? I don't think so. As far as like stream content, this is going to be what the content's going to be for a while. We're just going to be learning Go. So I imagine we'll probably have another couple days of kind of going through the language basics before we actually start trying to solve some real like LeetCode type Christmas themed problems for practice. And then I think we will try to build a couple projects maybe before the end of the month with Go, because I think that will just be fun. And that's that. Eric, are you learning Go just to learn it, or do you have a project plan? So my project plan, Eric, is to use it just to do Advent of Code. This is the only real reason why. This is the only real reason why is Advent of Code. I've done Advent of Code the last 2 years with C#, and I just wanted to do something different this year. So we decided, let's try to use Go. It's always fun to learn new stuff, you know. All right, Artwork Studios. Have a good day, man. Let's see, Pablo. Thanks for hanging out with us, Pablo. Appreciate you. All your help trying to understand concurrency in Go. Who else was here being helpful? There was somebody. Oh, ESFONL. Thank you for your help if you're still here. Appreciate you. Eric, have a good day, man. All right, guys. Yep, I think that's everybody. Whoever's still here, though, I hope you have a great, wonderful Monday. If it's already Tuesday for you, have a great, wonderful Tuesday. Time zones are weird like that. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Dex, thanks for subscribing. I appreciate the subscription. All right, guys. Bye, y'all. Bye. See you guys.